lesson 7 for today. We're going to be talking about the percent equation. So basically we're going to be using percents to find different things, and also sometimes we're going to have to find percents and stuff. So basically we're talking about like a percent of a number and then you get an answer. Sometimes we're going to be solving for different parts. Sometimes we'll be solving for the answer, sometimes we'll be solving for the part, sometimes we'll be solving for the whole, sometimes for the percent. So basically there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So the two main things that you need to know is means equals and of means multiply. So if we can get that down, it won't be really that hard of a lesson. So an example would be like if it says, what number is 12% of 150? This is exactly how you write it down. So just how you read the word sentence, we're going to write our number sentence in the same order. So it says what number. So we need to think what goes in the place of a number that we don't know, and that's a variable. So we're going to put a variable there. So we're going to have x. And then it says is, so is means equals, so we're going to put an equal sign under the is. And then we have 12%. So we're going to go ahead, it's very important to know that anytime you get a percent, you can't deal with it unless it's in a fraction form or decimal form. Until it's in one of those forms, we can't really solve anything yet. So in this case, we got to change this 12% to a decimal, which would be 0.12, because we have to move our decimal 2 places to the left. And then we have the word of, which means multiply, and then 150, which we write 150 down here. So if you can do that, change those words and put the correct operation or number or variable there, then you will be good to go, because now we have an equation to solve for. It says x equals 0.12 times 150. As soon as we do that, we will get our answer. Okay? So let's go ahead and look at some examples. Let's go ahead and look at example number 1. It says, what is 6% of 19? So we're going to literally take it word by word, phrase by phrase, and write our number sentence. So the first thing it says, what is. So anytime you have like what is or something like that, what percent, a variable is going to go there because we don't know what it is. So we're going to put an x for what is, and then we have, for what. Is our equals, so we're going to have x equals 6%, which we have to change it to a decimal before we deal with it. So 6%, we need to move our decimal 2 places to the left to make it a decimal. So now we have 0.06. Of means multiply, so we're going to put a multiplication sign. And then we have 19. So now this what is 6% of 19 looks like x equals 0.06 times 19, okay? So let's go ahead and multiply it out. When you multiply it out, you're going to get 1.14. So that means x is equal to 1.14. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 2. It says find 72% of 90. So when it says find, that means that we're just going to go ahead and solve the following part, okay? It says 72% of 90. So we're going to first change 72% to a decimal. So we're going to take our decimal, move it 2 places to the left. We're going to have 0.72 times 90, because of means times, and then we'll bring our 90 down. So 72% of 90 is 0.72 times 90. So let's go ahead and solve it out. You're going to get 64.8. That's going to be your final answer. Alright, let's look at number 3. It says 35 is what percent of 70? So we're literally going to take it word by word. So we have 35, so 35 is means equals, so 35 equals what percent, so we don't know what that is. Of means multiply, so we're going to multiply, and then 70. So this whole 35 is what percent of 70 turns into 35 equals x times 70. Now in this case, we're solving for the percent. It says what percent. So that means that at the end you're going to get some sort of decimal, and you're going to have to change it to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So be very careful whenever you see what percent. If you have to make a note out to the side, if you have to highlight it, if you have to circle it, something to remind yourself that once you get your answer, you're not done. You have to go one more step, okay? So let's go ahead and solve for this. You have x times 70, and then you have equals 35. So this time we're actually getting into the algebraic part where we have to actually solve for x. So in order to do that, we need to use the inverse operation. So we have x times 70, so in order to get x by itself, we need to get rid of the 70. And since we're multiplying, we're going to divide because that's the inverse operation. So we're going to divide by 70 on both sides. So now we're going to go ahead and do 35 divided by 70. If you divide it out, you're going to get 0.5. But remember, I'm not done. So I'm not asking for a decimal, I'm asking for the percent. So I'm going to take that 0.5 and I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right, and I'm going to get 50%. So I'm going to put that over here. X equals 50%. That will be your final answer because it says what percent. I have it in percent form. Check, I'm done. Alright, let's go ahead and look at number 4. It says what percent of 125 is 75. So we're going to write what percent, you put an X there, but I'm going to put something to remind myself that at the end I need to go one more step. So when I get my decimal form, I'm not done. I need to go one more step. So what percent? So I'm going to change it to a percent at the end. So we don't know what it is, so we put an X. Of means multiply. 125 is just 125. Is equals, and then we have 75. So this whole what percent of 125 is 75 turns into X times 125 equals 75. So just like the problem before, we have to do kind of an algebraic step here. So since we have X times 125, and we want to get the X by itself, we have to get rid of this 125. And in order to do that, you need to do the inverse operation. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide by 125 on both sides. Really hard to see down there. So we're going to go ahead and do 75 divided by 125. If you divide it out, you're going to get 0.6. But remember, we're not done. We have to change it to a percent. So let's go ahead and move our decimal 2 places to the right. 1, 2, and now we have 60%. So I'm going to go ahead and write my answer over here. X is equal to 60%. And also, a skill that you might want to use is that you want to try to think about, okay, well, is this answer reasonable? So think about it. We have 75 and we have 125. So let's think about it. What is half of 125? Well, think about that first. And then think, well, is 75 close to half? Because 60 is close to half. So basically we're using reasoning to check to make sure it's reasonable. So if this was like 1,520 something, like that would make no sense according to this problem, because we're saying that 75 is part of 125. So 1,500, whatever you have, would not be a part of 125. Alright, let's go ahead and do the next example. We have 39 is 84% of what number? So first off, we got to go word by word. So we have 39, is means equal, so we're going to put an equal sign. 84%. Remember, anytime we're dealing with percents, you want to change it to a decimal first. So we're going to move our decimal 2 places to the left so that we can use it and have 0.84 means multiply, and what number is X. So our whole 39 is 84% of what number? Turns into 39 equals 0.84 times X, or 84 hundredths times X. So now we need to go ahead and solve for our variable. So if we have 0.84 times X, and we're going to have to solve for X by itself. So we want to do the inverse operation, which is division. So we're going to go ahead and divide by 0.84. 0.84. So let's go ahead and set it up. We have 39 divided by 0.84. Now you're going to get 46.4, and then it's a decimal that goes on. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just round it to the nearest tenth, which is 46.4. That's going to be our final answer, because we're not looking for a percent this time, so we don't have to do anything to our answer. Alright, number 6. It says 26% of what number is 45? So let's take it word by word. First of all, we have 26%. Now we got to change our percent to a decimal. Let's move our decimal 2 places to the left. 0.26 of means multiply. What number means our variable. Is means equal. And 45 is just 45. So now our whole 26% of what number is 45 turns into 0.26 times X equals 45. So now we got to solve for X again. And since we're multiplying over here, we're going to divide to do the inverse operation. 0.26. So let's go ahead and set it up. We have 45 divided by 0.26. You're going to get 173 and 7 hundredths. So I just went ahead and rounded it to the hundredths place so that I can round up to my tenths place. So I'm going to have, my answer is going to be 173 and 1/10. And that's going to be our final answer. We're not solving for a percent here, so we don't have to do anything at the end. Alright, number 7, it says, what percent of 40 is 9? So we're going to take it word by word. What percent means that that's our variable, x, but if you realize we said what percent, so that means that at the end, we're going to get some sort of decimal, and we're going to change it to a percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the right. So once we get our answer, we're not quite done. We got to go the extra step. Alright, so we have what percent, which is x, of means multiply, 40 means equals 9. So now our whole what percent of 40 is 9 changes into x times 40 equals 9. So now we need to do kind of our algebraic step where we look and we see that we have an x on this side, but we want an answer. So we got to solve for x by dividing by 40 on both sides. Remember, it's very important to do the same thing to both sides of the equation, both sides of the equal sign, so you keep it balanced. So what you do to one side, you do to the other. So now we need to go ahead and do 9 divided by 40. You divide out, you get 0.225, and so we're not done though. We have to change it to a percent. So 0.225, we're going to go ahead and move our decimal 2 places to the right, and we're going to get 22 and 5/10%, or 22.5%. Alright, if you have any more questions, just go ahead and rewatch the video. Watch the first part if you need the explanation again. Watch the second part if you need more examples. And as always, bring questions to class. I'll be happy to answer those. Now let's go ahead and do some on your own questions.
Alright, you have 4 problems for me. Number 1, it says what number is 88% of 300? Number 2 is 75 is what percent of 150? Number 3 is 12% of what number? Number 4, it says a local bakery sold 60 loaves of bread in one day. If 65% of these were sold in the afternoon, how many were sold in the afternoon? Alright, good luck. We'll see what you get tomorrow.